Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of 10 from the Chairman. I'm filling in for Chris this week. He's actually in the UK working on Squadron 42 and I'm going to be in the USA for 3 weeks. I'm spending a week here in LA and then I'm 2 weeks in Austin, catching up with everybody and working with Tony Zurevec and Todd Pappy and people will do a bunch of PU design stuff, discussions over here and so forth. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And as always, I'd like to thank the subscribers for making this happen. Anyway, let's get straight into this with some questions. So the first question I've got here is from Josh, and it asks, what do you do on a day-to-day basis to help keep things moving within CIG, and what are your responsibilities as global head of production? So there's a couple of things I do, because there's one is obviously, as you say, I'm global head of production, so that involves a lot more travel in terms of going around the different offices, coordinating with the different production folks, and then making sure we have our plans for what we're delivering, in the different milestones, not only for Squadron 42, but also on the persistent universe. There's a lot of planning, and just making sure that we have the right resources in the right places, and the ownership of which studios are owning what and so forth. So there's a lot of that sort of level of things. But also I directly run the UK office, and so there's a lot of just sort of stuff I do on that side, and obviously when I'm travelling, I'm very fortunate to have some very good support staff in the office which keep things moving while I'm away. But so there's basically two levels. There's one just much more of a global sort of level, and there's also just the much more of a micro level on the office side in the UK. And so that's basically the two different responsibilities I juggle a lot, as well as the Frankfurt office is actually part of Foundry 42, and although that's managed by Brian, who does an awesome job over there as well, I have some responsibilities for that side as well. And then next question is Amontillado. We've heard that stations like the Shubin mining platform and Squadron 42 are going to be as much as 6 kilometers long. In the baby PU today, we have large stations like Port Olisar, but can only access much smaller portions on it. How much of Shubin's interior can we expect to be able to explore in Squadron 42? Lots. Obviously, Port Olisar is just, it's a place for you to spawn and get your ships and move out. In Squadron 42, and also, as you'll see, much more space stations and environments come into the persistent universe. There'll be very huge areas you can run around, and so it won't be just like 1 or 2 rooms. It's actually a huge installation, and you can. There's lots of different rooms, areas. Manufacturing, plants and so forth within this huge installation. So yes, it's not just like a large external, it looks externally large, but there isn't much you can do inside. There's like different landing platforms, different places to enter, and a lot of stuff to do inside. So yes, it's a huge, first-person environment, inside the stuff in Squadron 42, and also you'll see that within the persistent universe. Next question is from Daz. It says, "Hi Aaron, when Squadron 42 is released, do you expect to get all features you're hoping for into the final release, or do you see the possibility of either cutting certain nice-to-have features in for launch, or adding not yet available technologies in Episode 1 in a later patch?" So basically, we've already been working on that sort of round of what we want in Squadron 42. And we've known for a while exactly what we're putting in, and we're just working towards that. So there's no more rounds of cuts or other things we'll be taking out. It's just really just working through exactly what we know we want in the game for the first, for the first episode with Squadron 42. And so, yeah, the plan is we're gonna go with what we have. We're working towards getting that in and out to you guys, obviously, as soon as possible. But yeah, there's no, at the moment we had those discussions actually last year in terms of what kind of stuff we were going to take out, what we weren't going to go for, and so forth. So at the moment, we've got a very tight plan of exactly what content's going in there, what the levels can be like, and so forth. And also, we know exactly what we're doing a shoot in a few weeks, which is just a sort of a catch up and some stuff we didn't get in the last one. It's only a week or two we're doing just to get the last material, and then that's basically what's going to go into the game. But yeah, at the moment, what we have is what we plan to put into the game. Next question is from Doc. It says, could you explain the difference of your role in the company to that of Chris? Where do you see the challenges and benefits to work with a close family member on the same project? Chris and I have worked together for a lot of years, so on and off. Obviously, I was working on LEGO games for 10 years when Chris was making films and stuff. But obviously, in the early days, I worked on Wing Commander with him, Strike Commander, Privateer 2, and then of course in Digital Anvil, we did Star Lancer and stuff like that as well. So we've got a pretty good working relationship, and obviously, you know, we have disagreements about stuff, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, I think we both listen to each other, and at the end of the day, Chris is the CEO, so if we have a discussion, he wants to go a certain direction, and I can't convince him that's the direction we go. But our relationship in that sense, and that side of things, is really good. In terms of what the roles of Chris is very much out there pushing the direction of the project. He's basically, you know, he's pushing for the stars. He's really trying to make the best game he can out there. He's thinking about ways of doing that, what technologies to bring and how we can make that sort of stuff happen. My job is really just to make sure that as all this stuff is getting moved forward and all the ideas are out there, we're working out which one of these are the priorities, making sure we've got we're prioritizing the right staff and the right areas to go work on the different things, and then work out basically what the next features, what the next milestone will have, whether it's realistic, making sure we get the schedules together so we can really give a good idea to Chris if, you know, he wants a bunch of features in the game, and we're basically working out and say, well, actually, you know, in this timeline you can get like 80% of the features, you can't get them all, and so forth. So I spend a lot of time doing that, as well as making sure that globally we have the right people to get the job done. Where do we need to hire people? What studios should be concentrating on what? Where does it make sense for things to happen? You know, which areas, you know, different people in charge of, and so forth. So I'm very much doing, you know, I love design. I've directed projects before, and I get a kick out of it. And when I get into design conversations, I really enjoyed it. I've had a few these last couple of days, but a lot of my time now is just really spent on just production and just making sure that you know, the juggernaut that is Cloud Imperium Games and what we're trying to build, and sort of the you know, the dream we're trying to build, you know, for ourselves and for everybody is you know, coming along as fast as it can. And here we have a question from Jericho Wren. Hi Aaron, for Squadron 42, just how much interaction will we have, if any, with our wingmen or crew before battle scenes or on the deck? Do you think we'll have reason to develop a feeling of camaraderie with our Squadron 42 shipmates, or will they more or less be script props? Well, so one of the major things with Squadron 42, which is one of the big pushes we're doing, is actually getting that sort of feeling of making sure that you do have that sort of camaraderie with the people on the ship, the people you live with, and so forth. So we're actually investing a lot of time in making sure that when you walk around, it isn't just a question of just feeling like that. Yeah, it's just some guy just says something to you. That we're really working hard on proper interaction, not just verbal, but facial. The way people look at you, the way they respond to you, the way you talk to them will reflect the way they talk back to you. And also just having a system where people have actual jobs on a ship, and our jobs are wherever they are. So, you know, if they're a mechanic, you can find them working, working on the ships at a certain time, and then they'll walk to the mess hall and they'll have food. And if you walk up to them, they'll look up and they'll look at you, and and you can ask them a question, they'll respond. They may be busy, and just it's all these kind of things. So no, we're actually investing a lot of time in a lot of tech on the AI side, and you probably heard the word subsumption used, which is basically our system for basically making our characters come alive. And the way you talk to them and treat them, you know, is also the way they respond to you, whether it's socially on the ship or whether it's out there in flight and so forth and things. And so when you're out there will be a lot of back and forth, and the idea is we really want you to build relationships with your wingman and the crew you're around in the game. Next one is from Lockostry. Hello Aaron, how is the landing zone pipeline different from the ship pipeline? Are the benefits of improved ship pipeline process making their way to the landing zone pipeline? Is there even a pipeline for landing zones, or are you waiting for procedural planet technology to finish before resuming major work on landing locations or on planets? I think what you're asking here is basically when you say the landing zone pipeline, that's basically our environment pipeline. And yes, basically a lot of the ways we're building ships in terms of the way we do stuff, in terms of we come up with say on the ship pipeline, once we have nailed down say what RSI looks like or and so forth, then we have a lot of stuff we can use then and that we can reuse, which makes us be able to create the ships faster, and it really helps with the larger cap ships in the game, because we've always got these huge spaces to create. On the landing zone, so absolutely the way Ian Leyland, who's our is the art director in charge of environment, so he works at the UK office. The whole way the pipeline is put together is in a very sort of modular fashion, but in a way that basically doesn't look repetitive. And so we're building these environments so they can be reused all over the place. So although right now you're kind of seeing one or two things in terms of the PU, as we go forward, we're going to be able to drop very complex and large, detailed areas in the game, internal areas inside space stations, on planets, and also just everywhere you go and so forth like that. So and that's the sort of stuff we'll be dropping into the game this year, and a lot of that more stuff will be coming out. And we're already doing that on the Squadron 42 levels. Like right now we have huge sort of FPS levels in Squadron 42 using the basics of all this kind of stuff. But yes, that's what's going to happen. Now the procedural stuff, as you mentioned, will be coming online very soon, which will tie in with the new streaming tech we're using, and that will allow us then also not only to have these environments, but also then place them within procedurally created either planets or asteroids and so forth. So basically, we create these huge environments, and then we'll have like specific areas which are created and molded to suit a purpose. So it's really cool. But then there'll also be a lot of procedural stuff around it. But that stuff will be coming on this year. So the answer is yes. What we're doing on ship stuff, it is going to work for environments, and you're going to start seeing that hopefully very soon. Belzoff is the next question. Do you ever find yourself being challenged with a dream big mentality versus a be realistic mentality? How does that play out for you in your role? All the time. We have obviously this huge list of what we want Star Citizen to be. And what we try and do is really work on the different stages of getting us to the stars, as it were. And so we spend a lot of time, and if you guys saw the size of our design and what we have and all the different levels we have, which are just like well beyond stuff we'll even do this year and so forth, and a lot of stretch goals. We've got massive place we want to take it, and right now we're just really focusing on the fundamentals of getting, especially the persistent universe, getting the Stanton system in place, getting the core sort of features such as persistence, so you basically can earn money, so you can trade, you can do mining and so forth, and those are the first things that we're focusing on. And then also some of the smaller things around that is what does it mean if you do a cargo run? How do you have ability as a parrot to intercept a cargo? How does that work? If you're in a cargo run and you get taken out of you get dropped out of quantum drive, how can you call for help in the middle of nowhere and so forth? So all these things are sort of things that we answer as we go along, all this kind of stuff, we have designs for, but they're the things we're focusing on now to drop in there so players can really get into this system, which the Stanton system is going to be a bigger play environment with more going on than pretty much any game there already, and then we're then just be dropping in the other systems along with that as well. But yes, it's always a big task to work out this is what we want to do, and then just focus it down to, okay, what are the next steps? And that's actually what I've been spending a lot of time here this week in meetings, and just working out what are our next steps, for the latter half of this year on the persistent universe, to get this stuff out. Okay, and the next question is from Rufus Ultra. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for your and your team's work over there in the UK. The Starfarer looks amazing. Thanks for that. Nate Dursley and his team in the UK will really be happy to hear that, because they're really proud of it, and I'm looking forward to you guys actually flying that. And we're actually flying it ourselves right now, but you guys should be flying with it very soon. The question is anyway, what will Squadron 42 do? What will Squadron 42 do after the release of the first episode? Heading to the Caribbean and enjoy some cocktails for a month? Jump right away on episode 2, or helping build a PU? Well, I'm sure once Squadron 42 comes out, I'm not sure we'll go to the Caribbean, but I'm sure I'll take the guys out for a few drinks, that's for sure. But we will be straight away actually rolling on to episode 2, because we have a bunch more new ships we have to create, there's new environments we have to put in. We already have the story worked on for what we're going to do for that and so forth, so it'll be a straight roll into episode 2 to get that going. We also will be supporting the persistent universe. A lot of the work we do in Squadron 42 in terms of making stuff work, we actually then put into the persistent universe as well, so they work hand in hand well. But yeah, I mean, basically that team is going to roll straight on to doing Squadron 42 stuff, as well as creating a bunch more of the PU ships and getting those out to you guys as fast as possible. And on the environment side, we'll be doing the same as that as well. And the next question is from HyperX. How does the production of Star Citizen Squadron 42 compare to your previous work on the Wing Commander series, or even the LEGO series? Have those previous experiences affected how you operate in the CIG environment in any way? Very much so. I think probably the biggest effect on me was probably from working on the LEGO games. When I was working there, and I worked on the games for close to 10 years. We had very tight production deadlines we had to get through, so we would basically be delivering games pretty much every 4 to 6 months, which means we had to be very tight in what we're doing. Now, in the LEGO games, that's quite easy to do, because basically you have one set of core tech. You take a new franchise, whether it's Star Wars or something else, and you basically then you skin it, and then you put in 1 or 2 new features, and then you get it out there and you create the game. So it's pretty well. It was pretty well. And sort of but what it did teach to do is be very tight on getting everything in, scheduled, geared up, and so forth. On Star Citizen, there's nothing to compare to Star Citizen. Even games I've worked on in the past, like Strike Commander, which we worked on for a few years and so forth, it was still just a flight simulator. There was a lot of tech going on, but Star Citizen's not only building the tech up, which we have to do, as well as the gameplay to support what we're doing, which is a massive deal in terms of getting everything working. That's why we spent a lot of time last year getting us to 2.0. But it's also just the scope of it all, and we're trying to build 2 games, Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, and we're trying to build a company, and we're trying to do all these things in one big go. And so it's like it's basically it's very hard to compare anything. But I'll say Star Citizen is by far the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also I'm really enjoying it, obviously, and that kind of stuff and things. But in terms of what you're saying, stuff, the experiences were that I think we're getting very tight on, although we have so much to do, we are very tight on getting the scheduling down and what we need to do to get these things happening. So that's kind of the biggest lesson I had from before. And then the last question is from Jackknife, and it is, what is the next major milestone that you're excited about? There's a few. In the near future, he says, but in the near future, we have one is you guys flying the Starfarer. I think people are going to love it because it's truly a capital-sized ship, and people can go on there and you can have FPS fights on it. You can have lots of stuff, have lots of fun and so forth and things with that. So that'll be a really cool one. And then of course Persistence is very close, where you basically going to have some shops. So you'll be able to go in and buy clothes and armor and weapons and stuff and things like that. And then we're going to release Alpha UEC, which is basically UEC that you can play within the Persistent universe, which isn't proper UEC. It's not the UEC you have now. It's going to be something we use so we can basically get it out there and we can test out the universe and stuff like that. And then of course right after that is you're going to have the procedural stuff, which is going to make a massive difference, because it's not just the planet stuff that you've seen some demos for. Procedural stuff can be used all over the place, and it'll make a massive difference in gameplay. So I know you asked for what's the next milestone. I've given you 3 milestones, which are all pretty close, and that's kind of that's the stuff I'm really excited about right now. And that's it from me. Thank you very much, as always, for all your support, and thanks once again to all the subscribers for letting us do this and supporting us. Thank you, and goodbye from Erin, here in LA, not in the UK today. And stuff and things like that, and then UEC that can play the Persistent universe, which is within the UEC, which is basically something we use so we can basically get it. It's not the UEC you have now. It's going to be like that, the universe and stuff out there, and we can test out right after that is and then of course isn't proper UEC. It's not just the planet stuff.